The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Alongside Carson-Newman head baseball coach Tom Griffin, I'm Michael Watchring on CNEagles.com. The Eagles just wrapped up their Orange and Blue World Series. Coach, how do you think the fall season went for you? And how do you think the competitiveness of the Orange and Blue World Series went?
Well, Michael, first of all, it's great to see you again after several months of being away from you, so it's good to have you back. I thought the fall was very good. We have a lot of veteran guys, so they've been through it. The key with the fall, I think, is the new players, getting them on board and getting them to understand the system, the terminology, and the way we want to do things. And we have a lot of good depth, and I think that's something we did accomplish, was getting these guys to understand this is what our purpose is each and every day on the field and off the field. And that's our biggest goal. Yeah, there's skill development, there's physical development and mental development, but understanding this is our purpose each and every day as a student athlete at Carson-Newman, that's our main purpose with the fall.
You get an opportunity to play 5-game series. What does that teach you as a coach and the players in terms of how they're going to handle themselves in game situations? Good
question. We do a lot of scrimmages throughout the fall. And I think you learn about guys during those more than you do in the World Series. And that's a hyped-up situation. Guys are competing against each other in a winner-take-all type thing. But really you learn about guys in the scrimmages, in the practices, in the competitions you set up in practice. That's where you find out who your competitors are, because we want to compete every day, not just when it's game day, because then all of a sudden a kid's going to compete on conference weekend. Well, what about that Wednesday game? We got to compete then. And then we got to compete on Tuesday with practice to get ready for that Wednesday. So every day we got to teach kids and get them to understand that every day you need to compete. We talk about being our best, not here on the field, everything we do, in the classroom, in the relationships. We don't want it to just be when the lights turn on. We want it to be all the time.
You mentioned those things, and obviously you probably know what you're going to get from the Bo Osmuses, the Quentin Yocums of the world, guys you know that are coming back. Who are some newcomers or things like, or some new players that might have a greater role that stood out to you in this fall?
Well, fortunately, we had a lot of guys that were coming back. I do think there are a couple freshmen positionally that have done a really good job, especially on the offensive end, that give us some depth. Joey Solito and Eric Lynch have really been solid in the middle. Cade Snap, a young man from Seymour, Brandon Campbell, a young man from Pennsylvania, have done a good job as far as offense go. We've got a young man at first base who offensively has been one of our better hitters. Brett Hagan now, who was out last year as a catcher, is joining the ranks of Gooch Greer and J.D. Cowart and Greg Jones. So we've got depth all over the place, which is great. That's not something we had a lot of last year. Pitching-wise, we know our top 6. Now we're looking for the next 6. And so that's what we've got to figure out and develop here in the next several months. There's enough guys competing for it, but we've got to see who's going to take that next step and become that next 6, 7 guys in our pitching staff.
Along those lines, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of time spent in the weight room, some time spent in the cages. What's your goal until you ratchet things up again in the spring?
Well, continue competing every day. We have talked about that word each and every day. Understanding, again, what our style has to be. And the only way we're going to be able to play our style is by living our style. So whether it's in our weight training, our conditioning, whether it's in our individual skill work, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in community service work, we are going to emphasize that. And not just us. We're going to make sure that our upperclassmen emphasize it, because it's their club. We're managing, we're supervising, they're the bosses, and they've got to make sure that their teammates are on the same page. That's the essence of this thing. People think we're coaching. They know what to do. They know exactly what's expected. We've got to sit there and supervise a little bit and say good job, bad job, but the players are the ones who got to make that thing work.
Great to be back on camera with you, Coach, and I look forward to once again working with you this year, Coach. Thanks for your time.
We look forward to working with you, Michael. Thank you for everything.
He's Carson-Newman head baseball coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Watchring, and this is CNEagles.com.